Good morning, my friends. How are you today? We are here on Sewing in Slippers with Sue, and we're going to take a little look at our upcoming 2023 year. What do I have planned that might be of interest to you? So, how am I going to be teaching applique this year? Where are you going to learn how to do some beautiful applique quilts? And what new quilts am I working on to share with all of you? So those are the topics I would like to cover in today's Sewing in Slippers with Sue. Now, I don't have a special guest today, so we're going to be talking about planning for our upcoming year. So if you're ready to think about what your new year is going to bring for your quilting schedule, then we can chat about that and we can just work together. I've got my slippers on. I'm ready to get started. So let's get planning some of our applique quilts. So behind me, you see my sewing room. This is me. This is the real deal. This is how I sew. I've got a tiny little sewing room. I've got a couple of nice design walls and a nice working space, but it really is small. So when I start diving into a project, it gets to be a mess. So here you are in my messy sewing room. And good morning, Beverly. Nice to see you here today. So just to let you know, I'm live on StreamYard, which also posts to YouTube and Facebook. So if you're watching this on YouTube, welcome. You can like and subscribe, and anytime I go live, you will find out when I am going live. Same thing with Facebook. If you like our page on Facebook, you're going to find out when I go live, which is every Tuesday morning at 11 o'clock. So I'm so excited to have a brand new year in front of me. I'm not one to make New Year's resolutions. I'm not one even to stay up till midnight to bring in the new year. But I do look forward to a new year as kind of a clean slate. I look at the new year and I think about what projects am I going to finish up this year? What projects am I going to start this year? And what's going to be my main focus? What am I going to be concentrating on for my customers, my subscribers, and my members? Good morning, it's Kathy in Ohio. Ellie, good morning. Sojourney, hi Tracy, nice to see you here today. Mary, welcome. So glad that you're all here with me. Okay, so one of the things that I'm super excited about is when I kick off a new year, my brain just starts going with all kinds of fun and exciting things. So yesterday I had the thought that I was really sad that I hadn't planned a group to do a temperature quilt together this year. Last year we did do our temperature quilt together, and I'm about 3/4 of the way through this project using the beautiful cherry wood fabrics and that block a day temperature quilt. The course that I ran last year is winding down. So why is it winding down? Shouldn't it be finished? I've got a container over here that I have to get out of the way so I don't trip on it. Shouldn't our temperature quilts be finished? Well, yeah, maybe, because we have all of the temperatures now for 2022. What I haven't had time to do is to sew all of my rows together. So I have all of my temperatures done. I have all of my days done. I even have the days turned into months, but I haven't yet sewn all my months together. And if you're following along on the temperature quilt course, you know that we're doing that quilt as you go. So we're doing 3 months at a time. We're going to quilt those 3 months, and then we're going to add those 3 months to the first season. So we have our winter season. That one's all done. I have my spring season. That one's all done. Those two are put together, and that's what I just showed you. It's put together and it's quilted, but that's only half the year. I still have my summer season and my fall season to quilt. So the the summer season is ready to go. I'm ready to get quilting on that one. I'll probably spend some time doing that this week, or at least this month. And then I've got one more month to put it all together. So I need to quilt my last 2 seasons this month. And then next month in February, I'll be quilting my borders separately. And then I'll be adding the borders onto the 4 seasons that are all quilted and put together with Pauline Rogers' fabulous Quilt As You Go technique. So I'm finishing up my temperature quilt. And if you're still working on your temperature quilt, that's okay. You're supposed to continue working on it through February. Our goal is by the end of February to get the whole quilt together. So if you're on track to do that, woohoo, that's awesome. If you're not, that's okay. You're going to still work on it every day to make some forward progress on that project until it's done. The secret is not to give up. So if you're a little bit behind on some of your projects, it's okay. We just want you to continue making forward progress. Well, the same goes for the Tula Pink quilt. Those of you that are making the Tula Pink quilt with me, we're working on our borders right now. So we are on the home stretch. We've got all 13 blocks done. We have our borders halfway done. So we have a couple of more months to work on our Tula Pink quilt. And that quilt is going to be winding down in February as well. So if my temperature quilt is done and my Tula Pink quilt is done in February, I have some room in my schedule to open up and do some new projects. So I want to share with you what I'll be working on, and that gives you the opportunity to think about what you want to work on with me. Okay. Bev says, I don't know how you do all that you do. Well, you know, I don't always do it very well. Sometimes I do it really well. Sometimes I get behind, just like you do. And I'm behind on my temperature quilt. I'm not where I intended to be. But that doesn't stop me from starting a new temperature quilt. So that's something I want to share with you today because it's something that I'm super duper excited about. So yesterday I had the grand thought of doing a quilt pattern for charity. And then because I wanted to kick off the year in the right way, because it was Monday, the first day of the new year where I was working, I decided I was going to take that day. Lots of people were on holiday because it was Monday, the first day of the year. So instead of going on holiday that day, I decided to write a quilt pattern that we're going to sell for charity. Well, I'm 90% of the way there. I have a couple more photographs that I need to take and then insert those into the pattern. And then the pattern is going to be, I'm sorry, I'm turned away from the camera because I want to get the pattern for you. So I'm super excited about it. Can you tell? So after today, when I finish the pattern, that pattern is going to be available to you on my website. And all of the proceeds are going to go to my favorite charity, which is an orphanage in Uganda. Now, those of you that met with me on that last minute, spur of the moment Zoom call yesterday, you heard a little bit about the orphanage, and you'll be hearing more about that when I ask my friend Nicole. She's in charge of raising money for that orphanage. When Nicole is invited, I haven't even invited her yet, but she'll come. When Nicole is invited to Sewing in Slippers with Sue, you can hear more about the charity that we're going to send those funds to. So the pattern is already up and on my website, even though it's only 90% finished. If you order the pattern today, you're going to get that pattern by PDF download in your inbox by tomorrow. Okay, so it's my promise to you that I will get this working. I didn't quite know the ins and outs of putting up the PDF on the website. So I'm going to enlist the help of Katrina, my new assistant. Donna is leaving us, but Katrina, my new assistant, is figuring all of this out. She's going to help me get this pattern up on the website once I insert those last couple of pictures, and we'll be golden. So this is not just any pattern. Typically a pattern's 3 or 4 pages. It gives you the basic how-to make that quilt. Well, this is so much more. I'm going to call this a pattern plus. This is a pattern plus because it has the first 5 pages are how to record your temperatures. And in the instructions for the pattern, it shows you how to go about getting the temperatures for your area, your zip code basically, and for the year that you want to record. Now you could start this in January, February, March, April. It doesn't matter because you don't have to do the current year. You could do the year you were born. You could do the year you adopted a child. You could do a year that's special to you in some way or another. So this is where if you're going to record all your temperatures, we've got a checklist right here for you to record the temperatures, and then you're going to check those blocks off as you've made them. So the high and the low temperature will be indicated by the color that you use for the background square and for the circle on this beautiful circle in a square quilt. So by using this rainbow of colors, we're going to get an absolutely bright and beautiful temperature quilt this year. Now last year I didn't do a bright beautiful temperature quilt. I did a beautiful temperature quilt, but it wasn't bright. I used the subdued subtle colors that I chose from Cherrywood fabric line. There were 22 beautiful colors, but they were all muted shades. So this year I decided to take Beth Helfter's lead. She's made this quilt and I love it. It is stunning. She was our guest yesterday on the Zoom. So if you missed the Zoom, I'll tell you how you can get your hands on that video in just a minute. So I want to show you what else is in the Pattern Plus. So first of all, you've got the temperature recording chart, and that's your checklist for getting your blocks done. Secondly, we have the full supply list. Everything that you're going to need to make this quilt. And what I found out last night is Beth did hers in a different size than I was going to do mine. But because I want to copycat her, I love her quilt so much. I want to make it exactly the same, that I found 2 different ways to make this quilt. So those are all of your sizes for the quilt with or without borders. You can make a 4-inch square in the background or a 3.5-inch square in the background. Beth Helfter used a 3.5-inch square, so I recalculated all the yardage. I recalculated everything last night, and I rewrote the pattern last night. I was up till midnight, but it was super fun, and I got that all done for you. So now the pattern, adding a couple more pictures, the pattern's ready. So I do have in the Pattern Plus, we also have my temperature quilt chart. So my chart goes from under 0 to 100 plus. And you may or may not have similar temperatures. If your temperatures are not the same, you're going to take your temperature range, you're going to divide it by the number of colors you want to use, and you're going to find your own range for the temperatures. This year I'm going the easy way. I'm doing 10-degree temperature ranges. Last year I did 4-degree temperature ranges. I used 22 different colors, but we're going to keep it simple this year, and I'll show you those colors that I chose. There's been some changes since last night. Then we have the pattern itself. Now the pattern is super detailed. It's the Scrappy Happy circle in a square, and the pattern is not only super detailed, but I took a little bit of liberty with this pattern, and I didn't just do the how-to. I wanted to add a little inspiration, a little motivation, and a little bit of feel-good stuff at the beginning of the pattern. So if you want to skip over that, you can just skip that first few paragraphs, but I wanted to bring a little bit of my feel-good attitude into this pattern. So it is not just a pattern, it is a pattern plus. Plus motivation, plus inspiration, plus a little bit of woo-woo, happy place kind of stuff. I want you to all feel good about what we're doing here, raising money for this charity. And as you are making this quilt, I want that good feeling that you got from giving to continue throughout your year. So I've included a little bit of that in the pattern as well. And that's all new because I was inspired last night and I just kept going and talking from my heart about what this means to me to put this pattern together for you. I didn't tell you about that, but I did put those feelings right into that pattern. So the pattern has one blank page. That's where I'm going to put all the photographs, the actual instructional photographs, and I'll be doing that as soon as I'm done here with you today. Then I meet with my team at 1. We'll get that pattern up so that it is sent to you by email as a PDF with all of this glorious information, not just the pattern itself, but the pattern plus. So there we go. That is my new kickoff for the new year. But you know what? It was not on my calendar. And I have a meeting with my business coach this week, and she's going to say, hey, Sue, you are getting off track. That was not on your marketing calendar. Well, you know what I'm going to say? Oh, well, it made me happy to start my year off with a charity event, something really fun, meaningful, and very impactful to those kids that are in the orphanage. So, you know, marketing calendar, I just blew that right out of the water. I didn't get January started off the way I was supposed to. That's okay. I do have some wonderful things planned on that calendar that you can get involved with too. In fact, next week we're going to be running Applique School. So Applique School is already up on my website. You can start signing up now, and Applique School will be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday next week. I'm having to refer to my calendar. So Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday next week, there'll be Applique School. Then we're going to have a new member orientation for any new members of Ahead of the Curve, new and returning members. We also reached out to some of our former members and invited them back, and we've got loads of folks coming back into the membership because they're excited about the things we have coming up for 2023. So I want to share with you some of the things that I've planned for 2023. Okay, so our 2 workshops for Ahead of the Curve members are January 18th and 23rd, and we're going to talk a little bit about those 2 workshops. The first workshop is Pick a Card, and that is based on a traditional card trick block. But a card trick block is pieced and it's all intricate. There's 4 colors, and it looks like the cards are in your hand. So they're all stacked one on top of the other. Well, we're going to do a card trick the easy way. We're going to do a card trick using circular cards, and we're going to layer them the same way so that you look like you're holding a hand or a deck of cards. So we have a couple of different options for the card trick block. Using 4 cards, you can make a 9-inch block, and you can use 13 of those 9-inch blocks set on point to make a 52 card deck. That's a super fun way to do a card trick, isn't it? Now we also have a 25 card block that's about 18 inches square, and that one looks a little bit like what is that called? An apple core. It looks a little bit like an apple core quilt. So if you want to see what workshops we have coming up in our Ahead of the Curve membership, you're just going to go to my website, SuePellinDesigns.com, and click on events. On the 11th and the 18th, I think those are the dates. No, the 18th and the 23rd, you're going to see the workshops that we have coming up for Ahead of the Curve members. So there we go. There's something I am super excited about concentrating on this year. Our Ahead of the Curve membership has been going on for 3 years, and it is still going super duper strong. So I am always trying to come up with new ideas to share with my Ahead of the Curve members. Some of them are brand new, and some of them have been with me for 3 years, and they're looking for the next step. What's the next thing that we can do with rotary cut applique? So I'm going to share with you one of the blocks that I've been working on for our Almost in Baltimore block quilt. Now we are going to be making blocks that are based on traditional Baltimore album blocks. This one is just laid out. I haven't done any fusing or stitching yet because I'm just designing the block. This is the February block, and we're going to be doing some inking in the center of our block. So I'm trying to decide what style of love I'm going to put in the middle of that block. So that's something that I'm currently working on in anticipation of teaching Almost in Baltimore for the whole year of 2023. Now there will be 12 blocks that all blend together. You could make all 12 blocks, or you can pick and choose, because there's some other really fun projects that we have coming up for Ahead of the Curve members, and you get to choose. Do you want to do a block this month from the Baltimore, or do you want to do a project from our project-based workshops? So there's loads of fun things coming up for Ahead of the Curve members, and to tell you the truth, that's my big focus this year. I really want to give Ahead of the Curve members something really exciting and fun to look forward to every month. I want those classes to be well prepared. I want the supply list and student supplements to be right on point. So I'm going to spend some extra time getting prepared and making sure that I have great quality classes for my Ahead of the Curve members. Those Ahead of the Curve members, they pay for classes every month, and that's where I want to put my focus, because they are the lifeblood. They are they're my inspiration for keeping going, making new patterns, inspiring all of these people that want to perfect their rotary cut applique skills. So that's where I'm putting a lot of my energy and a lot of my focus this year. But of course, this is my full-time job, so I do get a lot done. I'm going to be working on the temperature quilt for myself with those bright, beautiful colors. I'm going to be working on the Almost Baltimore blocks, and Janie and I both together are working on 12 brand new projects for the membership. Now, for those people that are not interested in the membership, they just don't like that idea of being committed to something, even though that something is so wonderful to me. It's the community of the membership that's so wonderful. But some people are not interested in that. They're working full time. They just want to do something that they can do in their own time. Well, we're going to have a new course for you as well. So next June, I'm going to wait until June because I want to get all these other projects ahead. I want to be finishing up my blocks for Almost in Baltimore before I start this project with all of the people that want an independent project, independent of the membership. So our next independent project, just like in the past, we've done My Magical Garden, we've done Belle Rouge, we did Tula Pink, we did the temperature quilt. Those were all outside of the membership where anybody can take those workshops. We are going to do our Kaffe clamshell quilt. You can see it hanging out in the background. I didn't get it up on the wall. I took down my Christmas quilt, but I didn't get my springy quilt ready and up there yet. But you'll see that over the next couple of weeks. We are going to be launching the Kaffe clamshell quilt in June. So you have some time to finish up some other projects before thinking about starting something new. Didn't really want to start something brand new right out of the gate on January 1st. That's when a lot of quilt-alongs happen. That's when a lot of block of the months happen. It's not something I wanted to compete with, right? Everybody's doing something new in January. We do have something new. If you want to do the temperature quilt, that's a great January start. But it's not a course. It's not a class. It's simply a pattern, and you can do it on your own time. Super easy, super simple. So we won't have that new course opening until June, but I want to tell you why. One of the reasons is because I want you to finish up your project. The second reason is I've got a trip to Quiltville with my friend Sherry Noel. I'm super excited to go to Quiltville for almost 2 weeks and work on my own projects and get some of these blocks done. Then I'm going, or before that, I'm going to visit my mom in Texas, and we're going to take a sibling week with my mom, go away to a hotel someplace, and just have some good quality family time. You all know I lost my dad last March 1st. And I'll be with my mom and all my siblings on March 1st. And that whole week, I'm sorry, getting teared up here just thinking about it. But we're going to spend the whole week together celebrating my dad. Then, so that's first week of March. And then in April, I have Quiltville. And then in May, my husband and I are going away on the trip of a lifetime. We're going to be going to Greece. We're going to go to Santorini, and we're going to Athens for a week. So we're going to be spending about 9 days in Greece. And I am so excited. This is a dream of mine to go back to Greece. I had been there when I was a kid. I was 11 years old the last time I was in Greece, and I'm really so excited to be going back to that beautiful country, that beautiful community of people, faithful people, people who are healthy, that beautiful Mediterranean diet, the beautiful beaches. I'm just so excited about taking that 9 or 10-day vacation with my husband in May. Then in June, I will be ready. I'll be ready to kick off that new season with a new project, and we'll be working on the cave clamshells together. So it is a busy schedule ahead, absolutely. It would be neat to do a second temperature quilt in the same color range, and side by side, you'd be able to see the differences, even if they're different patterns. That's absolutely true. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to work with the same colors again. So instead, I'm going to share my, you know what? I'm going to change my camera. Let's do that. I'm going to go to settings, and I'm going to change my camera so that you can see over my shoulder as I am looking at doing my temperature quilt. And then the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to talk about how to find fabrics if you have run out of fabric for a project. Okay, so those will be our tips for today, is how to find fabrics when you've run out of fabrics for a project. So I'm going to go back to the temperature quilt right now because it's time to get some work done. So if you're in your sewing room and you're getting some work done right along with me, I'm going to encourage you to just listen as we work together. Just like putting on a podcast, just like putting on your favorite television show, we can actually work together and get something accomplished. So what I want to get accomplished today is getting my temperature quilt key in progress. So yesterday I had started working on my temperature quilt key, and then after speaking to Beth Helfter and seeing her amazingly beautiful quilt, I decided that I was going to modify my color range instead of the color range that I had planned. I had planned to go light blue, dark blue. light teal, dark teal, light green, dark green, light orange, light pink, light purple, and dark purple. Well, then I decided that I didn't like my dark purple being 100 plus because purple is one of my favorite colors. So I wanted to move that position into the 90 to 100 range. And then Beth said something really funny. She said, you know, she hates the hot temperatures so much that she decided to make her hot 100 plus temperatures black because that's how she feels when it gets up into 100 plus. And you know what? I thought that that was absolutely appropriate. And I don't like the idea of doing my light purple at 100 plus. So I'm just gonna tear that away. Now, as I said yesterday, when we were talking about our color range, what I wanted to do was really get a rainbow of colors. But when I chose light and dark of every color, it didn't look like a rainbow anymore. It was really kind of lackluster. It was kind of boring. But I do love my light pinks, and I have millions of them in my collection, hundreds of them in my collection. So I did want to do a light pink and a fuchsia, but then from there, that light orange and dark orange, I didn't have enough oranges to do both light and dark. So I changed my range a little bit. I stuck with a light blue for under 0. I hope we don't have too many of those days. Then I went with a dark blue and then a real teal. I have a load of teal in my collection. It's one of my favorite colors. So that teal is going to end up being 11 to 20 degrees. That's pretty common in my area. So I'm going to use a lot of the teal and then even more of my 2 greens. Well, instead of doing a light green and a dark green, which is kind of what this is, my 2 greens are really a lime green. So anything that you can call lime green, and I've just started to collect some lime greens here. So anything that I'm calling lime green is going to go in one category, and anything that I'm calling a true green or a dark green is going to go up here in this category. And all of my fabrics, I'm trying to make them all different. So in addition to this being a temperature quilt, you could also use this pattern. If you never intend to make a temperature quilt, you could use this pattern just as a scrap quilt pattern, and you can try to use all different scraps. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going through my scrap bin and I'm using all different colors from my scrap bin. And if I'm really good at this, I may be able to make a charm quilt. A charm quilt would have all different colors. Every single color in a charm quilt is different. Okay, so here I am back on the screen again. So I'm going to work along with you as I make up this new color chart. So I took off the light purple here, and now I'm going to add my light blue and my dark blue. My circles are a little bit bigger than what's on the paper because I have a 1 3/4 inch end on my tool that's easy to cut, and these circles are only 3/4 inch, and I don't have a 3/4 inch tool to cut those. So I'm going to overlap them slightly, and I'm just going to go right down the line here. I'm going to go from teal to green. Then I'm going to go from green to lime green. Lime green goes to yellow. Yellow turns into orange. Orange goes into pink. Pink is going to go into my fuchsia. Fuchsia is going to go into a red. Then I'm going to use that purple, and then for the very last darkest color, I'm going to take Beth's recommendation, and I'm going to say that's a black day, a dark day, when it gets to be 100 plus degrees. So one of the things I picked up from Beth when she was looking at my colors, she said, "Oh, how pretty, but I wanted more of a rainbow." And you know what? I love her quilt so much that I decided that I wanted more of a rainbow too. So I'm going to take her lead and I'm going to use brighter colors than I had originally intended. So I'm going to make more of a traditional temperature quilt, which often has those bright colors. So did you notice that I am fusing my swatches right on to the paper? By using Misty Fuse on the back of my swatches, I can cut them out with my Hearts and More tool into perfect little circles, and then I'm just ironing them down onto the paper. Now, if you need to, you can change these temperatures. Just use a little whiteout, and then you can have temperatures that are appropriate for your area. So there we go. I've gotten my work done for this morning. I've got my temperatures all down. And now I want to go look at the temperatures for the first 2 days of January. I can do that on Weather Underground. That's wonderground.com. Look at the temperature history for your area, and you're going to be able to print out a whole month's worth of data. But I don't have the whole month right now. I only have 2 days. So instead of printing that out from the computer and wasting all that paper, I'm going to go right to my record-keeping journal, and I've already done this. I've written down the 2 temperatures, the high temperature and the low temperature for yesterday, for the first, and now I have the high and the low temperature for the second. So yesterday on the Zoom, I went ahead and created my first block. It's missing. It's somewhere. I made a block yesterday. And today I'm going to get that second block done. And as I do, I'll take the photographs for the pattern. I'll get the photographs in the pattern in the next half an hour, and then we're going to get that pattern up and ready for you. Okay, so I promised that I would give you a tip or a trick about finding fabrics if you have run out of a fabric for a project. So this happened when I was making my Baltimore blocks. I really struggled with what to use in the background for the Baltimore blocks. I found a fabric that I thought was perfect, and then when I went to get more of the fabric, it was all gone. Well, while I was there looking for that fabric, I found this one, and I kind of like it even better. It's less distinct. It doesn't have little butterflies on it like the original fabric. It just has a circular pattern with pinks and oranges in the background, and I really do love it. But once again, there wasn't enough fabric at the fabric store. So I was lucky. I had enough of that fabric that I could look on the selvage edge of the fabric, and I was able to put in the manufacturer and the pattern number into the internet and see if anybody else out there had this fabric. And I was really lucky. There was a store in Ohio that had just enough of this fabric left that by the time I used what I had at my local fabric shop, and by the time they sent me the 4.5 yards that they had, I now have enough of this fabric. But what if I didn't have the selvage? So here's a fabric that I love, and I'm running low on it. I know it's a Kaffe. I know that just from my experience, but you might not know that that's a Kaffe Fassett fabric. So how would I go about finding out who made this fabric and where it's available for sale right now? Well, there's a nice little thing that you can do with your phone. And if you have a smartphone, you can do this right on the phone. If you don't have a smartphone, go ahead and do it on your computer. So in order to do this on the computer, we're going to need to take a photograph of the fabric, and then we're going to need to upload that photo. So the easiest way for me to do this is to go on my phone, take a photograph of the fabric. Oops, it went away. Okay, so there's a photograph of the fabric, And you can do this right from the phone if you have a smartphone. If not, I'm going to take this photo and I'm going to email it to myself. After I email it to myself, I'm going to save it on the desktop of my computer. And from there, I'm going to show you what to do with that photo. Now, if you do it on your phone, there's a different way to do this. So let me go and show you by sharing my screen with you. So let me go over to Google Images on my computer. And I'm going to share my screen so that you can see Google Images on my computer. So how do I get to Google Images? I type in the menu bar, images.google.com. Then I'm in Google Images right here. You can see it says Google Images. I'm going to search by image. That's the little camera icon. So I'm going to search by image and I'm going to upload that image file. So upload the file. I'm going to go off to my desktop where I saved the image, and I didn't save this particular one, but I did save the one that I'm using for my quilt. Upload the file. It's uploading now. Okay, so there is the fabric that I'm actually using for my quilt. And Google Images is telling me that these are all similar images. Now they're visual matches. It's a off-white background with some pink print on it. I'm going to scroll through there and see if I can find my fabric. Sometimes you can, and sometimes you can't. In this case, I was not able to find the exact fabric in the reverse image search. But that's okay, because I'm finding all kinds of other suggestions. It tells me the price and where to buy it from. Now, some of them are obviously from the UK, they're from Australia, or they're a different type of fabric. They're not cotton fabrics. You're going to see some that are $100 a yard. Those are probably some twalls that are made for home dec. But you can look and find some simple cotton fabrics. This one's $5.89. That's probably by the half yard or by the quarter yard. So you're going to find a fabric that's similar, and hopefully you're going to find the exact fabric. Well, I couldn't find the exact fabric this time, so let me close that down. And instead, I'm going to show you how I'm going to find the cave fabric on the Google image search. So if I go on Safari and I click on Google Images, I come up with the exact same screen. Sorry, the light is making that a little bit tricky. But on that Google Images screen, it's exactly the same. You click on the little camera icon, and the camera icon gives you a camera. So you can take a photograph of whatever you're searching for. So I've got that fabric right here on the table. I'm going to take a photograph of what I'm searching for, and then it says it's looking for results. Well, I can expand that selection to include some more of the background and the leaves. So I'm going to get a better result if I really expand that selection. And look, lo and behold, I have found a similar fabric by Kaffe Fassett. So at least I know I'm on the right track. It's not the right colorway, but it is the right fabric line. Then I can search through and see if they actually have the color that I'm looking for. You know, that other color is really beautiful. I might even like that better. But lo and behold, here's the exact fabric that I have in front of me, and I can buy it for $10 a yard right through this website. So there you go. Even though this fabric is really unusual, it's old, it's kind of on the ugly side, right? I'm still able to find it and find it for sale locally. So, not locally, I'm sorry, on the internet. So, that's a great way to find fabrics that may have gone out of print. They may not be available at your local store anymore. Maybe they're all still in print, but you just can't find them. That's a great way. Doing a reverse image search will actually find you vendors that are selling that exact fabric, and if not exact, something very similar. So I hope that you have learned something new today on sewing in slippers. Beverly, you got to watch this video again so that you can write this all down. Just remember, Google image search. When you click Google Images, click on that camera icon. That's all you need. So if you just write down Google image reverse search is even better. That's going to show you exactly how to do it. You can Google it. That's the joy of having the internet at our fingertips. Now we can do that with anything. If you want to take a photograph of my quilt back there, you're going to find similar quilts when you do a reverse search like that. So if you have an image, you're not sure what that quilt name is, what the pattern company is, what fabric line is used, you can go and do a reverse image search on Google and you will have all that information at your fingertips. So it's not just for looking for fabric. You can find paintings. You can find paintings by one painter and all similar paintings. When you take a picture of one painting, do a reverse search, it's going to find all similar images. So it's a super fun way to do some research if you're looking for something that's very visual and it's not labeled with a name, a pattern, etc. So I hope that's a helpful tip for you today. And I hope that you're excited about all of the things that I have planned for Sue Pellin Designs in 2023. Every month, we're going to have an educational series. So we're going to have applique school in January. We're going to have fabulous fusibles. We're going to have demo days where I demo new products. Every month, we're going to have something new where you can come for free. Just sign up on my website. You're going to be able to learn right along with all of our friends here at Sue Pellin Designs. If you want more of me, if you want more education, you want more applique, you can absolutely join the Ahead of the Curve membership where we learn about all things fusible, all things applique. We're going to be expanding that knowledge, and we're going to be adding other techniques that you can use in your applique quilts this year in our Almost in Baltimore series. So I hope you're super excited about what we have to offer you this year. If you want to learn applique, you are in the right place, my friends. So go sign up for my newsletter. In the newsletter, there will be a link to this video. And in the newsletter, I also promised my Zoom friends last night when we were talking about the temperature quilt. It's the Scrappy Happy Circle in a Square temperature quilt. And when we were planning the temperature quilt last night together, and we had Beth Helfter as our special guest, I will have that video from the Zoom call in the newsletter as well. So if you're wondering how to get on my newsletter list, you're going to go to SuePellindDesigns.com, and all you need to do is find where it says you can get a free pattern when you join my mailing list. And mailing list is all about staying in touch with me so that you can learn the best ways to start your applique journey or to further your applique experience. So I hope you're having a wonderful first couple of days of 2023. I want you to spend some time, just think about what you would like to get accomplished this year. Oh, and for our Ahead of the Curve members, we have an open sew all day Friday. And in the spirit of doing something new and fun, we are going to have a challenge in the membership, and I will tell you all about that challenge on Friday. If you come to our all-day sit and sew, you'll hear about the challenge. If you're not able to come, I'll send an email to all of our Ahead of the Curve members to tell them about our 2023 challenge. So I hope I'll see all of you in Ahead of the Curve soon. And if not, there's many opportunities to spend time with me here on Sewing in Slippers with Sue every Tuesday at 11 Eastern Time, and I hope I'll see you every week. Have fun with some applique this week, and I'll look forward to seeing you all soon.